All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. We are going to pick up the conversation where we left off yesterday. If you were not on this call yesterday, we practiced and role-played pricing conversations, actually strategic pricing conversations. We're going to do a deep dive into how this works. And I'm going to use my whiteboard today. It's been a while, so welcome back to Whiteboard. And we're going to start over here on the left side of the whiteboard. I'm going to try to get out of the way so you guys can see. Give me a moment. I think that works. Let me change screen so I can tell if you can see this or not. All right, we're good. All right, so when you look at the real estate market, markets go up, they go down. And as you're tracking inventory, in other words, how many homes are on the market, how many months of inventory do we have? And I'm going to give you a formula for figuring that out before we finish here today. But when you look at the real estate market, the market goes up, plateaus, it comes down, and it's all based on supply and demand. So when you're in a market where there's 60 to 90 days of inventory, and then the market is getting better, you're transitioning, you're shifting into a seller's market, and you have 30 to 60 days and maybe less than 30 days. Now the market is going up. Makes sense, right? Here's another way of looking at it. If you have three buyers competing for the same listing, they're going to outbid one another, which causes the price to go up. Simple. Now, when you get to 90 plus days, 120 plus days, now you're in a market where you have three sellers competing for one buyer. When that happens, the only way the seller wins that competition is price. In other words, they drop their price, and that causes prices to come down, which puts us over here. Now, in order to be able to have this conversation, we first need to understand how to do a supply and demand analysis based on price. So we're going to start with our subject property. We've done our comparables, and we feel like this property is going to sell for probably around $440,000. Now, if we're seeing $440,000, that probably means the seller is thinking for 60, 470, 475,000. And we want to know what is the supply and demand for properties between 450 and 500. We also want to know what is supply and demand for homes between 400 and 450. Think of it like this. You have two different ponds you can go fishing in. Which pond has the most fish? That's the pond you want to go fishing in. One pond is 450 to 500. The other is 400 to 550. Your job is to help your seller understand where they want to go fishing, where they need to put their home. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at properties between 450 and 500,000 within a 2 to 3 mile radius of the subject property. You're simply going to go into your MLS. You're going to search active listings between 450 and 500. Then you're going to search properties that sold in the same area, 450 to 500,000. You want to go back 6 months. Your MLS should be set up automatically to go back 180 days, so don't change that, just do the search. And let's just say that we find that there are 18 properties for sale. That's A, that's active listings between 450 and 500,000. Now, we also find that there were 12 properties that sold in the last 6 months. The next thing we want to do is we want to take C is B divided by 6. In other words, how many homes are selling every 30 days? And if 12 homes sold in the last 6 months, we had 2 selling every 30 days. There we go. Now, D is the number of active listings, A, divided by C, which is the number of homes that are selling every 30 days. In this case, that would give us 9 months of inventory. Now, doing the search from 400 to 450, let's say that 24 homes sold are currently for sale. However, we have 36 that sold in the last 6 months. We're going to take 36, divide it by 6, which means we have 6 selling every 30 days, and we have 8 months of inventory. Both of those are buyer's markets, both of them. However, where do you have the best chance of being the shining star? Now that's script. That's what you want to say when you're talking to your seller. Where do we have the best chance of being the shining star? Competing against homes priced between 450 and 500, or competing against homes between 400 and 450. Now, there's going to be homes priced between 450 and 500 that are priced right. You're going to have sellers that are in that group that are motivated and they're going to price their home to sell. And in order for you to sell your home in this market, you have to be one of 2 out of 18 to sell. So the question is, would your home price between 450 and 500, if we put your home on the market at 470, that's the price you told me you want to get, totally understand it. And if we put your home on the market at $470,000, are you going to be one of the 2 homes that sell in the next 30 days? Be quiet. Let them answer the question. Now, clearly, we all know the answer is no. Now, the other market that we want to look at is we want to see what does it look like between 400 and 450. My comparables have you at 440, don't forget. And in this market, there's 24 homes for sale. There's 36 that sold in the last 6 months, and there's 6 that sold in the last that are selling every 30 days. Now, here's the talking point, guys. Would you have a better chance of selling your home, being one of the top 2 properties out of 18 in a higher price range, or do you have a better chance of being one of the top 6 homes that are currently one of the 6 homes that are selling in the next 30 days? Obviously, guys, the answer is I have a better chance of being one of the top 6 that are going to sell in the next 30 days. Your response is, I agree. You follow that up with, so where should we price your home? Now, the seller says, you guys are doing screenshots, hurry up and do it because I'm going to erase this. The seller responds with, I still want to try $470,000. Remember, sellers go to script school too. One of their favorite scripts is we can always lower the price later. And another one of their favorite scripts is a buyer can always make an offer. All right. So sitting right at the kitchen table, I want you to pull out a legal pad. Zig Ziglar used to call this your thinking pad. And I want you to have a conversation with them in pictures. This is exactly how I did it for 13 years, taking an average of 10 seller listings every month, selling an average of over 100 homes a year during one of the worst real estate markets our country's ever seen between 2008 and 2012. So I understand you want to price your home at $470,000. I get it. Totally understand. And anyways, a buyer can always make an offer and we could always lower the price later on, right? They're going to go, exactly. Okay. Now we have 0 days on the market. We have 30 days on the market, 60, 120, and 180 out here. Remember, my recommended price is $440,000. Between 0 and 30 days, the number of people that are looking at your home is going to peak. You're going to get maximum exposure in the first 30 days. That's your window of opportunity. Now, what typically happens, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when somebody says to me, John, can we go ahead and just try 470? And we can always lower the price later on. What typically happens is somewhere around 60 to 90 days on the market, they'll come to me and they'll say, you were right, go ahead and lower the price. The problem with that is we missed our window of opportunity. All the buyers are here. That was our best opportunity to get your home sold. Now, the buyer who's going to buy your home probably isn't even looking at it anymore because there's fewer buyers even looking at your home. We get out to 180 days on the market. Your next door neighbor doesn't even notice it's for sale anymore. Now, a buyer comes in at 120 days and they love your home. The first question they're going to ask their realtor is, how long has it been on the market? The agent says 120 days. Buyer says, what's wrong with it? Realtor says, nothing. Now you're the buyer. Are you going to offer $440,000? Here, I'll answer for you. The answer
I
is
think you're looking for no.
that was the word I was looking for, Andre. Thank you. So the answer is no. Now the follow-up question is why not? Why isn't a buyer offering $440,000? Here's why. Because your best negotiating position was right here. The seller has the advantage 30 to 60 days on the market. The buyer has the advantage at 120 days, and they know it. So they're going to come in with an offer of 400 and let's say $10,000. Now you are super motivated to sell your home. And this is the first offer you got, and you take it. Now you're not happy. You're probably mad. You're probably mad at me, but you sold your home for $410,000 when you could have sold it for 440,000 in the first 30 days. You lost $30,000 trying to make an extra $30,000. And you have 3 months of additional holding cost. It costs you $4,000 a month between your mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA fees, whatever. So it's $4,000 a month over additional 3 months. That's another $12,000 that you've lost in holding costs. So you lost a total of $42,000 trying to make an extra $30,000. So what should we do? And then be quiet. Now they're going to come back and say, I need 470. Anytime you hear the word need, right, Kim Jera? I see Kim Jera nodding her head. Anytime you hear the word need, circle it, underline it, know that you're coming back to this. If you were a buyer, Kaya, and you were making an offer on a home and you've done your homework, you know it's worth 440, but the seller needs 470. Are you giving them $470,000?
Never.
Not,
No.
not at all. What if I were selling stocks and I had stocks that were valued at $100 a share, and I'm like, Joe, I've got these stocks. They're valued at $100 a share. I'll sell them to you. I want $120 a share. Are you paying me $120 a share for those stocks? The answer is obviously no. What if they tell you, well, I just did $50,000 in updates a year ago? The question you should ask them is, when you made the updates, did you know you're going to be selling your home in a year? Their answer is going to be no. And your response is, if you could have the $50,000 back right now or have the improvements, which would you choose? They're going to respond with, I'll take the money. Your response is, that would be a buyer's response as well. Now, there's three reasons that we make updates to our home. One is for personal enjoyment. The other is to increase the value. And then the other is to make your home more competitive in a seller's market. Now, you've lived in your home for a year since you've made the improvements. You've got that brand new, beautiful kitchen. Did you enjoy that kitchen? Yes, I did. Absolutely. And when you make improvements on your home, typically you're going to get 25 to 30 cents on every dollar that you put into the house. So if you spent $50,000, yeah, it'll improve the value by maybe 15,000, not 50,000. I'll give you a perfect example. For those of you who live in states like Florida where you have pools everywhere, check the appraisal value on the pool next time you get an appraisal, right, Debbie? You spent $100,000 to put in a brand new pool. What do you think the appraiser is going to give you in value when you get that property appraised? 20,000. That's right, Joe. $20,000. Perfect example. Now, the third reason we make improvements to our property is to make it more competitive. In other words, Henry, There's 6 homes selling every 30 days. Now, those improvements may not get you the money you want, but they'll be the reason your home sells. A buyer will choose your home over the competition because you made those improvements. If you went to the grocery store and you're at the checkout counter and all of the prices are 50% higher than they were the last time you went, and you go to the manager and you're like, okay, what the heck? What's going on with the prices? And the manager says, well, we just did all these improvements to the store and we need the money. Huh? Are you paying 50% more for your groceries because the store needs the money? Of course you're not. This is no different. A strategic pricing conversation is about making an observation. This is what I see, making a forecast based on what I see. This is what's happening, and then mastering the art of persuasion. Remember, people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. Your job is to provide new information, lead with logic, and close with emotion, because logic makes us think and emotion makes us act. So we also know loss aversion. Loss aversion simply means that I am more motivated by avoiding pain than I am by going towards pleasure. So Aaron, if we put your home at 470 and the market rejects the price, what's plan B? If you're still in your home 6 months from now and it hasn't sold, how do you feel about that? You're selling your home because you want to move to Tampa in order to be closer to your family. You want your kids to be near the grandparents, and this is really important to you. You told me you want to be there by a certain time, so I know this is important to you. However, it's a year from now, and you're still in your home. You're not in Tampa. And by the way, the value has decreased by $30,000. Now, if that were to happen, how do you feel about that? Park on pain. Lead with logic, close with emotion. All right, take yourself off mute. Talk to me. Go, Sean.
I've heard we've gone through this several times, but like I've always say, you always hear something new, and the need responses, all of those, like I need 470, all of that is just amazing. And I can't say, I know you've said it before, but today was a little more in depth on the need, how to respond to need,
Yep,
and I'll definitely kind of implement all of this on my next listing appointment.
that's right. That's right. Guys, remember perspective as well. Perspective is the only thing that can dramatically change the outcome of an event without changing any of the facts. Now, the perspective conversation is, Clem, how long have you lived in your home? How much has the price increased since you bought your home? The price has gone up by 20% since you bought your home 5 years ago. Now, if you were buying a stock and you knew it was going to go up by 20% in the next 5 years, would you buy it? Of course you would. You'd buy as much as you could. That's exactly what's happening here. This time is like that time. You're selling your home for 20% more than what you paid for it. You're not getting the price you want or the price you think you need, but you're walking away with 20% more than what you paid for it. Perspective. Go, Joe.
Sure. So if I can just share a story, when I first got my license, I put on Facebook, hey, if you're interested in a market analysis to see what your home is worth, I'm happy to provide that for you. So no idea what I'm doing. And my old neighbor reached out to me and said, yeah, can you tell me what my home is worth? And I told her, and she was just blown away. She's like, "No, no, it's not worth 650. It's worth 800. Are you kidding me? You know how much money I put into that pool?" And I said, I didn't know what to say at the time. I said, "I'm sorry, in Massachusetts, having a pool decreases the value of your home by $16,000 on average."
Wow.
Sorry. I didn't know what to tell her at the time, but I just wanted to share that.
Wow. Wow. Good story, Joe. Thanks for sharing that. Moral of the story, if you're in Massachusetts, don't put in a pool. Uh,
Yeah.
all right. Clarissa, talk to me.
So, I've heard this like a million times.
Yep.
And again, that piece on the need,
Mm,
you did an elaboration or a modification
mhm,
on the when they respond, when their
mhm.
objection is, oh, I need this price.
That's right.
And that was just something totally different. So thank you for providing that objection handler to when they say, oh, well, we need this price.
Right.
This is like gold. I don't know if I've missed it or maybe you didn't elaborate on it as much, but that was a great elaboration, John. Great elaboration. I'm gonna have to watch this over again.
Thank you. Been working with Clarissa for 10 years, so you can just imagine how many times she's heard this, right? Kim Jera, talk to me.
Oh, I have another story. I cannot even tell you how I wish I would have known this. So I had a listing, 3.88 million is where we started. And she insisted, she knew the market. She wanted to be at 3.88 million. We told her 3.5 was the max. We were at the prime of the market. We had 25 realtor brokers luxury come through the property. Everybody said it would sell at 3.5. She was adamant. She knew the market. She understood what she needed to have and wanted to sell at so she could buy her next home. We missed the market. It was on the market. She had to do a whole bunch of renovations. Long story short, it was on the market for 4 months, took it off, put it back on. She ended up selling at 3.12, and it took almost 5 months to sell. And it was all her wanting to do what she wanted to do. And we kept reducing it, and we literally missed the window that she could have gotten 3.5. So I wish I would have had the tool that you just shared to get her to understand.
There you go. There you go. That's from a very successful mega agent in Kim Jera. When you think you know everything, you don't know everything. By the way, that's not Kim Jera. She is a sponge. That's why she's here every day. She's here to learn. One more thing I want to give you. Shoot, it was right there and I forget it. Oh, you could either create the market or you can chase the market. So, Kim Jera, what happened in that situation is your seller was chasing the market, where if she would have created the market, she actually would have started below 3.5 million and priced the home where the market is going, not where it is. All right, Dr. Sylvia, talk to me.
Just quickly, first of all, amazing. I have to go through it frame by frame again, was just blowing me away. And I have an opposite. So my neighbor, 2.5, they listed, they don't have a pool and it's expired. And they say, well, because we don't have a pool. So it's the opposite. They didn't make the improvement and therefore they think we can't meet the market criteria. How could I possibly entice them to list with me? I already told them, well, sometimes a pool, if it's senior citizens, they don't want a pool or people with pets.
Yeah.
So sometimes can be an advantage, but
Maybe.
in other words, I didn't make the improvement. How can I still get them as clients?
Yeah, it's price. So in Florida, unfortunately, when you're at a certain price, people expect you to have a pull. It's like buying a BMW that comes with cloth seats. You're like, what the heck? What's up with this? You expect that BMW to have leather seats. Gotta, just has to. So when you're buying a home in Florida over, I would say anything over $500,000, people expect it to have a pull. Even if they never get in it, they expect it to have a pull. So you're looking for a buyer who doesn't want to pull or who's willing to put in a pull. That's a needle in a haystack. And the only way you're going to attract a needle in a haystack is price. I don't know if that's what you want to do.
Throwaway a script, I don't know if we quick throwaway line, whatever you want, that I can still get them to list with me.
Watch this video. The script was in there.
Yes.
Watch the
Okay.
recording. The script was in there. I promise you. Kim Jera, Kim Jera, talk to me. And then Joanne, and that's going to be a wrap for today, guys. Got to go.
No, I just needed to lower my hand. Sorry.
Okay, Joanne, talk to me.
I'll definitely be watching the recording again on this one because echoing what others have already said, where there was just new nuggets today and hitting on the I need. And then we all have a seller that has their own unique need. And so this particular seller, I'll talk to you about it later, but they don't want to be out of their home for 4 months. So I think he wanted to list high just to see, because he has the time. And so that's a unique perspective on it. He doesn't want to be out in 30 days. So I know he's high. We haven't had a single showing in 10 days. So
I'm laughing because your seller's high.
Yeah.
Funny.
Probably when he chose the price.
Go see him when he's not high. All right, that's a wrap. Everybody make it a great day.
Thank you again, John.
All right, go get him, everybody.
Thank you, John. Good day, everyone.
Pleasure.
Thank you, John. Good
Thank
day.
you, John. Thank you.
Guys.